Hey friends, it's Kevin. Welcome to the Kevin Dairaghi Show. Today our special guest is Tatiana. Before I get into her story, I just want to say a quick thanks to all of our vendors, right? So we have Lois with Farmers Insurance. She covers all my assets for all the properties that I do. Thank you, Jason Hudson of Red Maples Construction. He does like all my rehabs, right? All the inside stuff, all the work like that for rentals and rehabs that I do. Thank you, buddy. So I have Greg Bands over at Upright Construction. If you're going to do it upright. He takes care of all the outside. Actually, he's putting a roof on this week for me in one of my recent sales. So thank you, Greg, and your team for that. And also Adam Droege with CRS. So they are the property managers. So they're the ones who make sure that when I do have rentals or tenants, that money is brought up and paid back and managed. So it's actually a more of a passive asset instead of just an active headache that sometimes being a landlord is. So, guys, thank you so much for supporting us here at the Kevin Dairaghi Show and our mission. So, Tatiana, she is fantastic. She's a firecracker. Turns out she's actually from Russia. She was there when it was kind of switched over from communism to open market, goes down to Israel for a few years, gets dare I say, a lucky break, ends up coming to America and has some crazy ups and downs in her story, but found real estate, has some bad days in it, but also has a lot of success. So, guys, let us jump in and learn a little bit about Tatiana and the wisdom that she has to share. All right, welcome back to the Kevin Dairaghi Show. Today we have a special guest with probably the hardest name I've had to say so far. So let's do this. Tatiana Zagorovski.
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 Almost got it.
I did it better in the pre-show, but damn it. But that's awesome. Tatiana, it is great to have you. Thank you for jumping on. I know in your social media and your stuff there, you talk about all these wonderful things in overcoming struggle and being an immigrant and now the success that you're starting to have, right? So now you're empowering more people, right? Overcoming their struggles. But now you're speaking at conferences and giving hope and inspiration to many, many people out there. So that's awesome. So I want to start to unpack all this, right? But I think really the place for me to start is you're not from here. You're from Russia. So how did you get to America? And then how did you find real estate?
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Hello, everyone. I'm excited to be here and share my story. I was born in Soviet Union into a family of 3 generations of top-level professors. And naturally, I was sure I will grow up to become professor too. But when Soviet Union fell apart, my dream changed. I realized I want to become an entrepreneur. So I got my master's in applied mathematics at the age of 20. And shortly after, I moved to Israel. And living for a few years in Israel, I relocated through my corporate job to United States. I've been in software development for 20 years. But my dream was always to make money using my own brain. So I've been trying all kinds of side hustles. I was taking some business courses, but nothing stick until one day I joined some cheap entry-level real estate webinar, and within a few minutes I just knew it. That's it. I found my niche. That's how I'm going to build my legacy, and that's how I started.
Oh my gosh. So I have to ask, like Soviet Union obviously is
It's
a
15
couple years.
republics at the time. Now it's
Yeah,
15
that's what I was
different
like.
countries.
But how? I mean, you said you're a child of professors, right? So was there or is there an entrepreneur spirit out there in Russia? Because at that time it was a communist
No,
country.
no, at
Like,
the time, obviously not. No, no entrepreneur spirit, quite the opposite. I actually was also kind of preparing myself if needed to fight against the capitalist country, which is United States of America. And the funny thing, I'm laughing at it sometimes because now I became that capitalist, happy capitalist. But I was growing up, reading story, rehearsal poems, obviously not supporting entrepreneurship. And in Soviet Union during communist time, that actually was a crime. So people who now I know that were truly entrepreneur and started to run their own business, that was a crime. So they were sent us to jail, sent to those camps in Siberia. So obviously, no entrepreneurship for me. And professors in Soviet Union, especially like famous professors, like in my family, they were highly respected people, very well paid. So for me, becoming a professor was not only, family heritage, but also making really good living. After Soviet Union collapsed, everything changed, and whoever was in universities and colleges, they became pretty much poor people.
Really, it flipped.
It completely flipped, and then the business and entrepreneurship became allowed, and people who joined, fast, those new ventures, they made tons of money, and it became very clear that if you're a business owner, successful business owner, obviously, then you can make, great living for you and your family. But unfortunately, there was a lot of Russian mafia around, so it wasn't easy at the time in Russia to make an honest business. So that's why I realized, like, in Russia, it will be very hard for me to run a business. And I was a young girl at the time, so I either needed to have really great family connection for money, but it wasn't the case. It was academical connection. Or there were older, rich males with power who were offering me all kinds of things, but I didn't want that.
Yeah, probably different things than what. Yeah.
Yeah, so I decided I changed countries and start my business without.
You have so many there's so much curiosity I have right now. So what part of Russia, to just so I have my geography?
It's central part, about 300 miles south to Moscow, not far from the border with Ukraine.
Do you still have family over there?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Can you communicate well with them, or is that?
Yes, but it's kind of very unclear. Unfortunately, Russia moved back 100 years in history, so they have dictatorship there. They cannot share openly their thoughts, and basically talking to me is also a crime because I'm.
So I have some friends who actually now live in Moscow, and like she doesn't really get to see or do anything like social or like talk until like she goes visit somewhere out or on the skirts. Then she could communicate, and then when she goes back, she's like, "It's not there. We can't just do this."
Yeah, it's not clear, and unfortunately, like I was planning to go visit Russia, and then this situation started to happen. So no, I'm not going to Russia anytime soon.
Man, that's got to be tough.
Regime changes again.
So I'm curious, how were you, I don't know if allowed is the right word, but how were you able to leave Russia and go to Israel?
No, at that time it was very easy because in order to, it's not relocation, the right word is repatriation. Basically, if you have 25% of Jewish blood, you have right to become an Israel citizen. And I'm very grateful to Israel for their programs because I literally left to Israel without having any money. I was carrying 2 bags, like one pen, blanket, some funny stuff. And Israel gives you some starting money. It's like a starting basket. So it allows you to pay for housing, food until you find some job. Again, I relocated from special program for people who got their bachelor or master degree, and I got my master's at the age of 20. So I had my master's degrees. I came through that special program, and I was super lucky because I was preparing myself to start, doing all kinds of odd jobs to survive. But within 2 months, I found my first job in a startup, Kasparov Chess, because I used to be competitive chess player. My grandfather, 2 times world champion in correspondence chess. So people knew my last name even in Israel in chess club.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Well,
do you
to be honest, my family is very famous in my own city. There is a street named after my grandfather. And last month, a museum was opened for my family legacy, like 3 generations of prominent citizens, etc., etc. So yeah, I grew up in a privileged, with a privileged last name until perestroika happened. Then
Oh,
it became less
do
important.
you still play chess? Actually, we have like a St. Louis has like a chess
You have
museum
the
here. Like,
best chess club in the country, but I've been living here for 20 plus years, but I discovered that about 10 years after living in St. Louis. Because no, now I don't play competitive chess. I tried to teach my sons, but they were not very interested. But who knows?
yeah.
Maybe I will be teaching my grandkids eventually.
Oh, look at you. So I
Because
don't know
I
if you can
always
even.
think like a chess player, a few moves ahead.
Well, that's we grew up with it. I don't know if you could see. So like we even have our
Oh
chessboard
yeah, you
out
have a
here.
chessboard. Okay, we could play sometime.
Hmm. Well, you're gonna kick my butt, but it was one of those. It was one of the. Well, let's liken this to real estate. You got to know the pieces on the board. You got to know the strategies, and then how to play it. Right. So you have overall when you start. Okay, this is going to happen, but you need to know the rules of the game if you're going to become successful. If you think you could just go out there and just kind of wing it, it's not necessarily how it's done, right? Just kind of like if you want to become a millionaire, you got to learn the different rules of taxes and shelter. Like there's just, you got to learn different sides of it, right? Just like any type of game, you need to learn the rules so you can learn how to play inside those
Yeah.
bounds, but also how to think outside of it. Gosh, there was a book and it was from a famous chess player. But he was a chess player, right? And then he went into martial arts, and he used his one brain to help with the other side. Have you heard of this one?
You know, I'm a black belt too, right?
I
I'm in martial
do. Why?
arts.
Why do you think I'm going? So you are. So in what? I just know martial arts. What?
Taekwondo. Taekwondo.
Taekwondo. Dang. What is that? Art of the foot?
Well, yes.
Well, isn't that what Taekwondo stands for?
Well, Taekwondo comes from like Korean martial art, but it's very close to karate and other techniques. It just have different stances, different type of kicks.
And you also were teaching your. Was it your son or who
Taekwondo.
else do you do Taekwondo with?
Oh no,
That you
that's the
guys are.
opposite. My oldest son was doing it for about 4 years when he was invited to competition team, and I was sitting listening, and I'm like, why I'm sitting on the bench? I'm one who like to compete. I'm one who who likes to fight. I should be there,
Oh
and
my
I
gosh, that's
sign up.
awesome! That's awesome. All right, I'm trying to find this book because it is almost like your story, in the sense that one side actually you could take knowledge from one area to turn around and apply it to the other one. Oh man, it was he had
But
a I think
frankly, martial art, yes, does require a lot of strategy, and I didn't realize it until I started, to learn it. But the people who do it the best, especially like in fighting competitions, and definitely
Mhm.
there are so many tactics and things, pretty much like in chess.
All right. I got too many books in my Audible there, but I loved it because it was so like I'm a huge history fan. So some of my episodes I give history examples, and then I'm able to turn around and apply it to entrepreneur world. Like hey, how does this work or this work? Actually, just like this. So in in earlier this year, I did an episode about Eads Bridge. Eads Bridge is here in St. Louis, connecting basically east and west, right? So it's actually the book I'm writing, but it's about Dreamforge Finish, right? And this is my history example, but then I use it for entrepreneur terms, right? So Dream, there was Manifest Destiny here in America. We want to connect east and west, right? We wanted to be able to do this, but in this case, we had the Mississippi River, which was like it's over a mile long here, deep. A lot of steamboats came across, and they wanted a bridge. There was no bridge there. So after the Civil War, we're talking 1880s, 1890s, they decide, actually capitalism decided we're going to build a bridge to help commerce that could bring trains. So in that, their building materials weren't strong enough. It was wood, stone, and iron, and that just it wasn't there. Forging is what they had to do to make iron into steel, which means you get it hot. You add additives, you take out impurities. Using entrepreneur terms, right? You create healthy habits and you get rid of bad habits, right? There's certain things you have to do. In that process, it makes iron into steel, and that steel was able to make the span, redefine what railroads look like, and then also create an empire with buildings going vertical. And then finish is the last part, meaning a half-finished bridge doesn't get you across the river. So that's a key part to the story. But Tatiana's world, what was your forging moment? I mean, it sounds like you're probably going to have a bunch of them, but like, where was a moment that you were like, you know what, do I just give up? I mean, was it back in Russia? Was it in Israel? Like, was it in America where you're like, you know what, screw it, I don't know about this, I give up? Or was there a part of you that says, no, I'm going to keep doing this, and that fighter spirit you have trigger and you just bumped right into it? Like, what was one of those moments for you, like a forging moment that helped create who you are now?
Well, since we have only an hour, not, I will be short. I think, like briefly, when I was living in Israel, as I said, very fast, I made a great career, and I didn't expect that. I was thinking the opposite. It will take me time to start having a good career or actually finding a business. Uh, and I will have no problem finding, friends. And completely opposite happened. Like within 2 months, I was working in this startup. I was getting lunch coupon to fancy restaurants. But at the same time, the people around me were with the spirit of failure. They were not happy with what they got in Israel, because I'm an exception. Most people had to do some, low-paying jobs first in order to adjust. And they were also complaining to what they had back in the Soviet Union countries. I was the opposite. I was growing up in famous family. Like I never was hungry, and I had like great living conditions, considering all the circumstances. To how I live now, it's funny, but back at the time, it was really cool and great. But I very fast I started to feel lonely, especially when they invited me to large corporation. Basically, when I came to Israel, I was told in this center that there is a super large company close by, but only one person like from our program was able to get there. It's so hard. And guess what? 6 months into living in Israel, I got an interview. They had a whole day of tests, psychological tests, professional tests, and they invited me. I'm like, I even don't know the language you're looking for. I mean, programming language. And the boss told, like, you showed such great potential that I really want you. So they thought of me for me because my startup also made me exciting offers. So they were offering me company cars, all kinds of benefits. It was like
Oh my
unbelievable,
God.
especially when I was moving to Israel. My salary in Russia, which was considered pretty high, it was close to what my mom, top level professor who received prize from President Yeltsin, was making $60 a month. Can you believe that? That's the monthly salary, and that was considered high. So
Oh my.
obviously, when here in Israel, two great companies were fighting for me, and the salary was like between 2,500, which was huge,
Yeah, that's a huge
huge
difference.
difference. So it was great, but so I took the offer from large corporation, and I did the right thing. But I felt very lonely because like I was by myself making good money, but I was nothing else. So I was considering moving back to Moscow, not to my own city, but to Moscow, because I had already international, work experience. I had some funds for first few months. But then I met my future ex-husband, so I stayed. And I guess that was the only moment, because when we moved to real estate story, so the moment when I found this cheap real estate training, I was living the life that many would consider an American dream. I had, very well paid position in large corporation. I had large house, large car, two wonderful kids. So from outside, everything looked great. But inside, I felt stuck because I wasn't building my dream. I was building someone else's. Like I earned free patents in software tools, but it saved millions to my corporation and their clients, but not for me. So I felt like a failure from inside because I still couldn't find this, business niche. So when I found real estate, I immediately knew it's my thing, but I didn't know what strategy to do, because in real estate, we have millions of ways to do business. And when you hear about all that from the first time, everything seems super attractive, and you start to chase those, shiny objects, which is completely
Yeah.
wrong, of course. But also remember, I considered myself super smart, because from a very young age, I was hearing how smart I am. So, and considering my, specialty, I was in charge of innovation and efficiency, I was looking for shortcuts. So I spent tens of thousands of dollars on so-called gurus mentorship that were promising some magical systems that provide flow of deals. I wasn't looking for a scheme to become, rich fast. I understood that real estate is a long game, but I was trying to find shortcut for this flow of good deals that allow me to build my empire. So it wasn't working. Then I made my first joint venture with out-of-state investor from one of the groups, and it was a big hit. I was scammed for more than $100,000 by
Oh,
someone who is running a church with her husband. They call themselves pastors. She presented herself as very credible, and somehow I allowed her to be, the leading partner. I was silent equity partner sending money. And few months into this joint venture, I realized I was scammed. And at the same time, my own worst family crisis happened. And it was around my children's emotional well-being. And it led to super painful and costly custody modification battle with my ex. After nearly a decade, our divorce was finalized. And I started legal battle with the scammer. So all this together and emotional state of my kids hit very hard. So that was the darkest moment. And frankly, we touched briefly before the recording. But that was the moment I did think that I probably would be better off not here, and not because of money. I felt like a failure as a mother. Watching my kids suffering and I wasn't able, to help them. I made decision to leave my corporate job, to be present, because I had to be with my kids one or another all the time. And it was very hard. I myself went into this severe depression. The only thing I knew, and the main thing that kept me going, I knew that real estate is my thing. I knew that I could build, an empire. I never doubted this piece. But mentally, I was struggling super hard because of my family situation. But since I knew my kids would be better off with me present, and I did believe in real estate, so and also it's been already like a couple of years after taking first training. So by that time, I also started to attract right people, because real estate is people businesses, team business. You need to have right people around you, not scammers, but
right. Yeah.
people who have win-win and abundance mindset. So I started to attract right people, and I found right business mentor, whom you know very well, Damon Remy. So I'm
Yeah.
super grateful, Damon and his mastermind, and Jackie. So they became my extended family. So they provided personal support and business support. So all together, my business finally started to go into right direction. I started to find and close deals. I started to help, other people. And that's another great feeling comparing to what I was doing in corporate job. So yeah, I know I was like saving my company millions, but I never saw any real people I was helping, because I wasn't really helping some real people. I was writing complicated software systems for mobile phone companies, but that's it. And here in real estate, pretty much every single deal, I help someone. Either I help tired landlord to unload the property that he doesn't know what to do with it, or I help, elder couple to downsize and move to a new home. Or another strategy I'm doing, I help some families to achieve their American dream and become homeowners, because I provide creative solutions for people who are not able to qualify for traditional mortgages. And when I started to get those, gratitude and thank you from people literally like every week or every other week, that's amazing feeling. And also my personal approach all gurus I met, I think I learned more from them how not to run business. So I run my business on honesty, integrity, and I would rather make less money on a deal, but make sure everybody wins than, to make a lot of money on one deal and lose long-term relationship with someone.
And
So
your soul. Like there's so many people that we probably both know that they're doing well, but they're leaving just a path of destruction behind them. Like it's you do one deal with that person and then they exploit it, and you're just like, what are you doing, man? Like, this is a
Exactly.
small town. Like, you're
And,
not
and, and
helping.
especially when some gurus, show example of successful deals, but you clearly see that they took advantage on some, elder person. And I'm like, how you can brag about it? It's definitely not the right way to run a business.
So I look at it probably very similar to you. Is I'm talking to people usually on their worst days, worst years of their life, right?
Yeah,
Something catastrophic has happened. That's why they're not able to live in that house anymore. They lost a loved one, somebody's sick, something happened to them, loss, dismemberment, just illness, cancer, and you're just like, they lost their job, meaning they lose.
absolutely. Yeah.
And there's a lot of sharks out there, and they just want to take advantage, or there's people trying to like, hey, this sucks. Let me help you with this. And when you get stabilized, let me find you a house and you could be a homeowner again, if that's what you want. Like there's people doing it right, and there's like you, and there's people who aren't.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's why a lot of people have this bad impression about cash buyers because they consider everybody will be making lowball offers and taking advantage. And the truth
Mm-hmm.
is, yes, there are people like that, but
And then
not
they then they
everyone.
then they brag about how much money they make on the deals, and it's like, man, it bothers me, but
Yeah,
that's
me
fine.
too. So when I hear such stories, basically, I try to avoid those people. It's definitely not to do business.
All right, so tell me about you're now speaking in conferences, and now you're kind of at least a local hero. So tell me, how did that go? How did that transpire? How are you in the front of the room?
Great question. Basically, it's very interesting. Sometimes the very setbacks you are most ashamed of turn out to be a foundation for greater success. So when I started sharing my story a little bit, I realized it important for other people to hear. I know about one more victim of the same scammer who stole money from me, but she's in completely different mental state. She's ashamed. She's ashamed. She's crying. She's completely devastated. But she also had a religious component to that because she came to a church and she was so eager to run business together. And then a few months later, after hearing stories how bad I am, she realized that she's in the same boat. So she found the courage to reach out. And I'm very grateful for that because until I talked to her, I didn't realize people really feel ashamed. Like, I didn't feel ashamed. I realized that even though I was super smart and was trying to make sure I'm protected, I wasn't, experienced enough with legal things. And I missed one point. So basically, I didn't realize that in LLC agreement, the most important thing is to read the operational agreement. Because what happened, how I lost the money, originally the property was purchased and both of our corporations were on the title, but we were planning to refinance. And the day before closing, the mortgage company reached out and we said, oh, we cannot refinance because we are refinancing to your personal name, but you hold title with your corporation. You need to move it like into LLC with your personal name. Long story short, we moved it into LLC that person owned. And I was thinking I'm smart. I was working with title company again that she found another mistake. And I was under impression that if I'm added as managing member to the LLC, that gives me enough protection. So I was added as managing member into LLC. I could claim the property into this LLC. And then a few months later, behind my back, she removed me from that LLC. And when she sold the property, she basically told title company that I'm nobody, even though it was the same title company who was handling the purchase and everything. So they knew I put all the money, but formally they told me, you are not on the title. We cannot do anything. So yeah, so I never was ashamed. It just I learned a lot of lessons, including lesson I remember forever now. That need to be carefully read operating agreement and not assume that if you are managing member of something, you have some rights there. But a lot of people really feel ashamed. And it kills, because I also met people who lost their life savings, or they also lost savings that they received from their family members, promising them to make money. And it's awful. At least, yeah, I lost all my savings that were not in real estate at the time, and I had more than 100,000 debt on credit cards. But at least it was my money, it was my decision, and I knew it was just a lesson learned to move forward. I still knew I will be super successful. But a lot of people, yes, they're mentally devastated by those losses and scammers. And I realized it's important to speak up, to tell stories, and explain they are not to be blamed for. Actually, I want everybody to speak up, raise, and go to the war against scammers. Because now I'm still, by the way, in legal proceedings for the deal. It's been more than a year and a half. It's still going on, but now it's not primarily about money, because I'm about to spend more money on legal help.
Yeah, I was going to say, like,
When I lost. But it's, to stop a scammer, to stop her from robbing other people, to give examples to others that you can fight scammers. And I'm not saying it's easy. And I definitely, thanks to my, community that I acquired, thanks to Damon and other great people, I'm really meeting the right people who can help. So yes, I'm working with amazing person who helps me put the word out and nationwide level. So we already had some wins. That scammer was kicked out of multiple large nationwide real estate groups where she was seeking for more people. And then I also realized that those scammers, they have kind of scheme, because other people who found themselves in similar situation, it was very similar story. They were talked into being equity partners without having a lien on the property. And as a result, that allowed scammers not to pay them. Because when you want to start real estate, you want to be entrepreneur. So you don't want to be just private money lender, which would be the right way for me to go in this deal. But I couldn't, because we use hard money law and we didn't allow second lien position. But again, all this I know now because I live and breathe real estate. But when you just start in, all this lingo is not very clear, and when you pay, tens of thousands of dollars for membership, you don't expect that another member, who is also, a pastor, is here to scam you. So I was too naive. I was too trustful. I still, believe people when I meet them, but I'm more skilled to do due diligence and protect myself, from legal side of things.
Was this a local person or national?
It's the only serious joint venture for out of state. It was in Florida, and for several months I was literally super happy and excited. I was telling I have a short-term rental in Florida. I'm sure people in the real estate circles, especially St. Louis Wire, ladies networking group, they remember that, because for a few months I was excited. Until I realized I actually have nothing there, and I got scammed.
What I'm thinking is, if it was legit, there would be a lot more, like, you could make a good living actually doing that, not just scamming. Like, that's what I don't get. All these people come up with ways you have to take from people instead of collaborating and winning with people. It's like,
and exactly, and real estate,
there's a lot more.
Yeah, real estate is truly gives you win for everybody deals. Like in corporate world, where I spent more than 20 years, like there is only one position of a certain, project manager or director. So not everyone can become that. Or when we give bonuses, they receive like this percentage should receive bonus, this percentage should not. But in real estate, it's different. Everybody wins, especially on complicated deals. Like the seller wins, he gets, to unload the house and get some money into pocket. If there was wholesaler involved, wholesaler makes some money. Then, like the investor is happy to get a house renovated and then give updated, beautiful house to a new family. And if it's on seller finance, it's even like more exciting.
Well,
everybody is happy if a deal is made right. And private lenders get paid in the process.
People want to know they're working with people want to know, like, and trust the person they're working with. Like, that's it. I mean, you've probably had the same deal where people have multiple offers, but they'll go with yours because they like you better, even though you're not necessarily the highest offer or the best offer, but they want to feel good about their transaction.
Absolutely. And not all people do that, but I highly recommend, especially now, to do some, online search on a person. Because the
Hmm.
interesting fact, when I started to see what is out there on the internet for this scammer, so guess what? It's full of posts, praising posts only from her husband. There are no, legit reviews from other people. If you search by my name, you see, articles in nationwide outlets. You see legit reviews from my real customers. So yeah, and I had several deals where sellers picked me because they trusted me, and I always make sure that if I sign contract for a house, I will close on that. They have my word. Like
Yeah.
I might not know exactly if one of my business partners will buy this house, but I will close no matter what, because that's the most important to keep, to do
Our
what I'm
word is our word,
preaching.
right? Yeah. Or let our yes be yes and our no be no. And that's kind of what contracts basically say is, hey, this is what I'm going to do. Okay.
Well, a lot of investors, not a lot, but quite a few feel completely comfortable not performing the contract.
One of those people called me recently. They're like, "Oh, we're this great company. We always close." And I'm like, "No, you don't." I'm like, I know several people. You don't always close. Like
Yeah,
that's
exactly. Yeah.
you get it. I mean, again, it's a small world here. You do the wrong thing to some people, it really comes around.
Mm,
You reap what you sow, right? Um,
exactly.
so here's some fun stuff. So as you are, you've gone through some crazy stuff, right? And we're probably just hitting the surface of some of the excitement. If you could go back and kind of give yourself some advice, I'm thinking down this dark day because I remember my dark days, right? Where you go into that depression and you're thinking like, where do I go from here? Like I'm a failure, I suck, etc. If you could talk to that person or you see that person around now, right? We do know people going through those. Like, what kind of advice would you have given yourself or that person out there that really needs it?
Well, first of all, it's very important to believe that you want to do it, because what I've seen, some people start real estate because someone presented it as a shiny object, but they don't really like doing it. And I think if a person doesn't enjoy walking those stinky houses, because let's be honest, a lot of houses we buy were really stink or look ugly or scary or whatever. So in this case, the right way, there is still possibility to make money in real estate, but more on passive side. Become private money lender. And don't struggle, don't fight to do something that you don't enjoy. Because sometimes people feel they must go for this wholesale approach that they hate doing it. And they start spending money on marketing that doesn't work. And they don't like talking, to sellers. So don't do things that you don't enjoy. That's first thing. If you do know it's your thing, just persevere, find the right mentor. Clearly, in real estate, the only shortcut you can find is to find the right mentor, honest person who will genuinely care about you and your success. One of an indication, I think, of a right mentor, in addition to ideally finding his students and having conversation, is to see how large that group is. If it's a group of hundreds, sometimes thousands of people, that's probably not a mentor you need, because will be very broad. And in those groups, yes, there are people who succeed, of course, but majority of people are not success stories. So it should be pretty as smaller group as possible. And there are great networking groups. Even locally in St. Louis, there are a bunch of great people. Again, you need to be cautious because eventually you understand that not everybody is as nice as it looks, but there are great networking groups. Again, the smaller the better, because this way it's easier to understand people and build connection. And learn all the time. I'm doing more learning now than I ever did, even during my college day, because during my college days I basically was partying a lot because it was very easy for me to do anything academically, so I could learn, a few days before exam, and I was getting high A. But now I'm sitting hours and my kids like, Mom, why are you learning all the time? Because that's how you grow a business. You constantly develop yourself, learn new things. And I enjoy it. So it's truly like, if you enjoy it, persevere. Consider every setbacks, even if it's $100,000. I know people who lost millions, but as long as you know it's your thing, just learn the lessons. Don't repeat same mistake that led to this failure, and continue doing right things. And eventually you'll start making more money than you lost.
It's I mean, it likens to a fight, right? You only lose if you stay down on the mat. If you get up
Yes,
and you keep fighting.
it doesn't matter how many times you fail. It matters how many times you get up and kick. And there are fights in Taekwondo. I only fight. Like my son is 2 times world champion, but he does it in creative and extreme weapon. It's solo performance. It's extremely hard.
Oh.
But I fight. I fight other people.
but I fight.
Yeah. But the funny thing, there were matches where I literally was down on the floor multiple times because I got kicked, but it didn't mean my opponent score. I was getting up and I was scoring, so I won those matches. Even when you look from outside, you're like, wow, I got kicked and I'm on the floor, but I still win the match because I get up and I kick to punch back. And I do the same with my real estate. Okay, I got a house full of poop recently after eviction. Did I enjoy the poop? No, but it's part of a business. So I went to my new car because I realized my dream from the time I was living in Russia. I dreamt about the largest Toyota car. So I got it last month. So I see this poop house, I get into my truck, turn on massage option, and I'm like, okay.
Oh, I'm just thinking that car probably had more features than your living arrangements did.
Oh yeah, I
earlier.
still don't know. And about massage, I learned by accident. I was searching on the internet how to do something else, and then I see someone say, "No, it's so nice to have massage." I'm like, "What?"
What is this?
Apparently, I do have it.
Oh man! Hey, are you still playing pickleball?
I would love to. I haven't played in months, but yeah, it's something I would
Because
like
we played
to
a couple
resume.
times, and you're quite a competitor.
I'm very competitive in everything I do. That's for sure.
I love it. I think that's a fantastic way of looking at it. All right. So I like this question. Okay. So when you are going through, like, obviously you have your big down moments, right? Those forging moments. But in entrepreneurship, we have those little waves, right? Good days, bad days. So on those bad days, on days where contract didn't work out, or you have setbacks with this, or you find a poop house, right? You have those bad news activities. Is there something you go to? Like, is there a book, a poem, a song, something that you go to kind of remind you that, hey, you got to keep going. I got to do this. Is there something you use to remind yourself of who you are?
Well, frankly, Kevin, I shared that I went through the darkest moments of my life because of what was going with my kids, and it cost me real suffering and thoughts about, ending life. But because of that, all those business downfalls don't really impact me much. And that's interesting because if those things were happening like 5 years ago, I don't know how I would react. But now it's just money. And I know deep down very well that I can make more money. And during my life, I lost a significant amount comparing to what I'm making several times. But I always made more. So things in business is just part of business. You just like, if you're going into real estate business, you need to be ready that you do renovation in your duplex, and then second floor tenants makes flat, and you need to renovate it again. And then 2 weeks later, second flood happens. It's part of business. That's a real story of my first rental property.
Oh my gosh.
That was like eating money instead of making money for 3 years. Now I turn it around. It took 3 years. It's not really a success story, but I didn't give up, and now it is making money. And I got a new roof for insurance.
The success is you kept going.
Like, yes, I had a really nice house. Tenant completely damaged it with dog poops and everything. I got it back after eviction. It is upsetting. Yes, I lost some money, but it's just, it's a short episode. I clean the poop, repair the house, and I find a new tenant, a new buyer. So it's just part of the game.
My gosh.
I don't
Tatiana,
know.
you're
Maybe because I'm a fighter. I really know it doesn't matter. It's just a temporary thing. You move forward. You take care of business. But the most important thing is, your close family. That I don't have a remedy. I don't have anything to your question. Um, yeah, sometimes the phrase I do use, my favorite movie and book growing up when I was teenager, I read a lot. But the book I read multiple times and I watched this movie multiple times, not recently, but back then, was Gone with the Wind. So the main
really
character, Scarlett, she is amazing. She is a fighter, and her phrase, I'm not going to think about it now. I will think about it in the morning. And sometimes that's what I do. I just like, okay, I'm not going to think about that. And you just, next day you start over when you find solutions, you find how to act. And personally, I always have, few things to try, few things to do, because I'm chess player. We always look about different variations. So like if one move doesn't work, I try another one.
That is awesome. So I was actually thinking you were setting up for "Frankly, My Dear, I Don't Give a Damn," but that wasn't her line.
No.
Gone with the Wind. But man, how cool is that? I have not had a Gone with the Wind reference yet, so that's fun. Tatiana, you have such a large personality. Thank you for using it and for shining. If people want to get more of you, where do they go? Do you have socials? Do you have a website? Where do you want people to find you?
Yes, for those who can pronounce my last name, I have website tatianazagorovski.com. But the easiest way is webuyhomesinstlouis.com. And from there, you can find my name, find my
I'll have the spelling up
media
here.
information, find my articles, interviews. And I do have presence in pretty much all social media. But to be honest, I'm most active on Facebook. So if you text me on Instagram or TikTok, I probably will not find this message.
Well, I've been seeing you do a bunch of videos with your AI owl face there, so that's fun.
Yeah, and now I have a group of helpers, mascots, who are teaching and educating people. We have.
Look at you. That's awesome. That's fun, isn't it?
It is
And
fun.
for
I
the
love it.
record,
It's technology. That's what I love. I love gadgets.
I haven't made
technology.
you say my last name, by the way. So I've been,
Oh, I'm not even trying, Kevin.
that's where I'm like, okay, like so far just one way. If you could, I'm like, ah. So no, that's fun. I do know you got to take off, but I do want to say it has been fantastic having you on, learning a little bit, obviously a lot deeper of your story. Because I have found, just like you, the more vulnerable you are, and I learned this actually from my coach, Coach Chuck, the more vulnerable you are, the stronger you become. It's not shame anymore. It's just my story, right? It's the scars that we have in our life and our stories, etc., becomes the birthmark of our future self. So you think it's a
Absolutely.
bad thing, but it turns out to actually be the thing that it makes you even greater. So thank you for opening up, sharing your story, and just giving your life, because you have so much brightness to share.
Okay.
So thank you so much for jumping on. We love you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Kevin. I enjoyed it a lot. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Man, wasn't that a great conversation? These are great. So I think she said it really quickly here, but did you pick up that she said she had a master's by age 20? Yeah, I was not doing anything like that at age 20, and I don't think a lot of us were. But competitive chess player, black belt, winning taekwondo battles, fantastic. I mean, that's the kind of person I want to have in my corner. But I do like that fighter mentality that she has, right? So she fought in Russia, she fought in Israel, right? Not physically, but in that mental game, right? The way to get ahead in Russia was to use your head, right? At that time, academics was a high level, right? So she fought for it. She had a name brand, competitive chess player going down. She had corporations fighting for her in Israel. She comes here. She gets knocked down with some of these bad deals, right? Having a mentor or a guru or a trusted guide actually be the person stealing from you is freaking atrocious. I have this I guess I personally despise traitors. And that's kind of what it sounds like to me, is somebody deceived her, stabbed her in the back, took her money, but she did not roll down and die. She got up, she fought, and she got back and made more money doing stuff, right? So she kept going, not just stopped and said, I'm done. I think it's fantastic, it's just money. That was one of her key things. And first person to ever use Gone with the Wind quotes. I'm not going to think about that now. I will think about that in the morning. Which actually just reminds me of learning to keep your peace. Not always the easiest thing, but if you don't lose your temper, it does keep you in the game a little bit longer, right? So you don't actually into a larger wake of destruction behind you. But man, what a great job of building an empire. She knew that real estate was going to be the catalyst. And then her forging moment with her family. So much of her story goes into our three tenets, right? The most important real estate is between your ears, right? She's a constant learner. She's learning more now than she did when she was in college. Your personal drives your professional. So that's her second pillar. She talks about that with her kids and kind of that whole world there. And then it's all about relationships, which, she talks about her darker days. And then if you go to our Kevin Dairaghi Best Tools, we have that snapshot exercise where you could actually find out, your own version of what, where you stand on things in your relationships. But obviously in her dark days, a lot of those different pieces were under fire, and that's why they were dark days. But she also knew that there was something that she clung to, hope, right? And she was able to come out to be just an inspiration to so many people. So Tatiana, great to have you. I'm so glad we had this conversation and that you are helping others in all that you do. All right. Much love to everybody. Talk soon.